Hi, PerspectaWeather.com meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Monday, December 23rd. Kind of a quiet morning here in the Mid-Atlantic region, and indeed it looks like a quiet week not only around here but across the Midwest, the northeastern U.S., the Great Lakes region. Generally quiet weather and moderately chilly weather for this time of the year. The heaviest rainfall continues to be in the southeastern part of the nation and out west. The storm that has been impacting the southeastern states looks like it'll have one more day of some significant rainfall in the Carolinas down to Georgia, maybe the extreme northeastern part of Florida as well. Then that pulls away from the area off into the Atlantic Ocean, and they'll have significant improvement starting tomorrow in the southeastern states. Meanwhile, out in the west, another storm system will impact California and some of the western states as well. Here's the 3-day total precipitation forecast map from NOAA, and again, the southeastern U.S., the main area. This is basically over the next 12 hours or so, 12 to 24 hours or so, impacting the Carolinas down to Georgia, even again the northeastern part of Florida. But all of this is pulling away, and a big improvement come tomorrow in that part of the nation. Meanwhile, another storm system impacting much of the western U.S., including all the way down to southern California. Well, that was kind of a quick synopsis of the precipitation amounts over the next few days from that NOAA weather forecast from this morning going all the way out to Thursday morning. Let's now kind of focus on temperatures, and let's start off in Alaska, because this is really a news-making story up for the people who live in Alaska. Very, very cold, well below normal, not only for today, but really for the next 6 to 10 days or so. This is the 850 millibar temperature anomaly map for Alaska, averaged out over, over the current 5-day period. And one thing I could say up front here is generally when Alaska is way below normal, the eastern U.S. is not. It's usually above normal. Indeed, that will be the case for the next several days. But again, this is the way Alaska is shaping up for the current 5-day period. Let's just keep moving forward here. This is days 2 to 6, days 3 to 7. Continuation of way below normal across Alaska. Maybe even gets a little bit colder over the next few days. And here's days 4 to 8, 5 to 9, and finally days 6 to 10. All of this well below normal in Alaska. And again, generally when Alaska is below normal, you can expect warmer than normals this time of the year in the eastern U.S. So again, it looks like they'll stay cold for the next week to 10 days, probably normal to above normal in the eastern U.S. for the next week to 10 days or so. Well, in fact, let's take a look around the continental U.S. in terms of temperature anomalies. This is again the 850 millibar temperature anomaly averaged out over a 5-day period for the CONUS area, the continental U.S. This is for the current 5-day period, and again, much above normal temperatures at 850 millibars. Now, this is 2,000 feet or so aloft above the ground level, and certainly at the ground level sometimes it can be somewhat different than what's going on in the upper part of the atmosphere, at least a couple thousand feet up. But in this case, we'll have normal to above normal surface temperatures as well for much of this week, maybe the next 7 to 10 days or so. Let's move forward here and see what happens. This is now days 3 to 7. That average for a 5-day period still above normal. There is a switch that develops by next week as we move into the beginning part of January. This is days 6 to 10. But now beyond this period here, notice it gets normal, then maybe even a below normal here in the eastern part of the nation. This is days 9 to 13, and finally days 10 to 14 here. All of this, by the way, from last night's 6C run of the ensemble version of the GFS. So again, Alaska, much below normal for the next 7 to 10 days. The eastern U.S., above normal for the next 7 to 10 days or so. But there are signs for a flip in the eastern U.S. sometime beginning next week as we move into the beginning of January. Well, let's take a look at the surface maps from last night's operational version of the GFS. This is from 0Z. Here's that storm system down in the southeastern part of the nation. Again, as we move forward, another day of significant rain in places like the eastern Carolinas, all the way down into Georgia, northeastern part of Florida. The good news, that storm system finally pulls away by Tuesday morning. Storm system out in the west will produce some rainfall over California, even all the way down into San Diego, the southern part of California, and some snow in interior sections. Meanwhile, up across the northeast, the Great Lakes, the Midwest, the Mid-Atlantic region, high pressure in control, remains in control for the next few days. Certainly tremendous driving weather in much of the nation for tomorrow. Busy travel day, the day before Christmas, high pressure in control. And then we'll move forward here into the middle part of the week. Here we are on Wednesday morning, Christmas Day, hardly any precipitation at all in the eastern two-thirds of the nation. And ultimately by the weekend, it looks like there'll be a cold frontal system that will be kind of sweeping across the nation. Here we are now Friday. Notice a lot of moisture starting to develop in the south central U.S. by the weekend. Here we are, the Saturday morning forecast map. Low pressure looks like it's going to scoot up well to the north and west of the I-95 corridor region this weekend. In other words, it'll be on the warm side of the frontal system for a while this weekend. And here we are, the forecast map, all the way to next Sunday, December 29th. Looks like possibility of some rainfall as a cold front slides toward the eastern seaboard. Once that front moves on through, some colder air moves in by the early part of next week as we approach the end of the month of December and roll into the new year and the new month of January. So again, for the most part, a quiet, above normal temperature, a pattern here for the mid-Atlantic region, the northeast and midwest for the next several days. There are signs, however, for a flip to colder than normal beginning sometime next week as we end the month of December and move into the new month of January and the new year, of course, of 2020. That's it for now. For PerspectaWeather.com, I'm meteorologist Paul Dorian.